Please subscribe to this channel and support us so we can post new sci-fi stories every day. Your support keeps us going. The vast crystalline chamber of the Galactic Council stretched beyond sight. Its transparent towers piercing the artificial atmosphere like frozen lightning. Dozens of alien delegations clustered in elaborate formations. The serpentine Vashti coiled around floating platforms. The armored Korthok stood in militant ranks, and the ethereal Zephyrians drifted like living nebulae. The air thrummed with tension and barely contained excitement. Whispers rippled through the assembly in 100 different tongues, all carrying the same message. The newest species, those primitive humans from the Spiral Arm's edge, had been summoned for subjugation through negotiation. It was a ritual as old as the Council itself, for protectorate status. Accept the inevitable surrender, and absorb another world into the galactic order. None had ever refused. The massive doors slid open with a resonance that silenced the chamber. Earth's delegation entered without fanfare, their simple black suits a stark contrast to the ornate robes, gleaming armor, and exotic biomodifications that adorned the other species. They walked with measured steps, 5 humans among thousands of aliens, yet somehow commanding attention through sheer presence. The council speaker, a towering Threxorian, whose crystalline exoskeleton refracted light into prismatic rainbows, rose from the central dais. His voice boomed across the chamber with the weight of millennia. Humans of Terra, you stand before the assembled wisdom of the galaxy. Your species possesses rudimentary technology and a brief, violent history. We offer you the protection of the Council. Accept protectorate status, submit to our guidance, or face the consequences of galactic law. Laughter rippled through the alien factions like a toxic wave. The Korthok general's metallic voice rang with derision. They still fight with chemical explosives and metal projectiles. Their longest conflict lasted mere decades, not the centuries of real warfare. A Vashti diplomat's scales shifted color in amusement. Such short lives, such limited perspective. They cannot comprehend the forces that shape systems, much less galaxies. But the human ambassador, a woman whose graying hair spoke of years weathered, not weakness, stepped forward with quiet confidence. Her voice carried clearly without amplification, cutting through the mockery. We did not come here to negotiate surrender. The chamber fell silent, as if a vacuum had opened in space itself. Gasps echoed from a dozen species, some amused, others genuinely insulted by the audacity. The silence stretched until the Threxorian speaker's form blazed brighter with indignation. But the human delegation remained unmoved, and in that stillness, something shifted. Across the galaxy, humanity's history had been one of defiance against impossible odds, from ancient warriors facing bronze with stone, to rebels toppling empires, to scientists splitting atoms with mathematics. Every extinction event, every plague, every plagueid, every tyrant had met the same response: refusal to yield. Light years away, in Earth's command center, buried beneath the Rocky Mountains, generals and scientists watched the holographic feed in tense silence. The weight of their species' future pressed down like a physical force, yet none suggested retreat. Admiral Torres, her scarred hands clasped behind her back, murmured to the assembly, "Our ancestors faced mammoths with sharpened sticks. We've prepared for this moment since first contact." On the screens, data streams showed humanity's frantic decades of preparation, captured alien technology, reverse-engineered, new alloys forged in zero gravity, weapons designed not for conquest but for survival against overwhelming odds. The Korthok warlord slammed his armored fist against his platform, creating a sound like thunder. Your species still bleeds from wounds made by sharpened metal. You possess no weapons that can crack planetary shields, no fleets that can darken systems. You cannot resist armadas that blot out suns. His words carried the authority of a species that had conquered 17 sectors. Yet the human ambassador met his fury with calm certainty. Every empire we've faced has made that same mistake. Every conqueror has believed his strength was absolute. Your empire will join the others in history's graveyard. The words hung in the air like a challenge to reality itself. The council's laughter faltered, becoming uneasy murmurs. These humans possessed something the other conquered species had lacked: not just courage, but a deep, unshakable conviction that seemed rooted in their very bones. Across the chamber, alien minds began calculating. Humanity's brief but violent expansion through their local cluster had involved battles against pirate fleets, corporate security forces, and even small military detachments. Yet somehow, these primitives had not just survived, but thrived, adapting alien technology with terrifying speed. turning captured weapons into superior versions, learning from every encounter. The debate among council members grew heated. The Zephyrian Collective's spokesperson, a being of living light, pulsed with agitation. They represent chaos. Order requires submission, and they offer none. But a crystalline entity from the Harmony Worlds whispered a dissenting note. Perhaps that is precisely why they are dangerous. Freedom is contagious. The Vashti trade princes coiled tighter, calculating profit margins from conquest against the risks of prolonged warfare. Smaller species watched in fascination. Here was defiance they had never dared express. The human ambassador raised her hand for silence, and impossibly, she received it. You believe negotiation is power, that the ability to offer terms demonstrates strength. You are wrong. Our power lies not in what we can give or take, but in what we can refuse. We refuse your protection. We refuse your guidance. We refuse your authority. Each word struck the chamber like a physical blow. The Threxorian speaker's form blazed with rage. You speak madness. Reconsider, humans. Accept lenient terms. Retain your local governance. Keep your primitive customs. Serve the greater galactic order. This is mercy beyond what your rebellion deserves. The human ambassador's lips curved in what might have been a smile, but her eyes held the cold fire of dying stars. We reject chains, whether they're forged from iron or gilded with false kindness. The chamber erupted. Half the delegates roared for immediate military action, their species having never encountered such brazen defiance. The other half sat in stunned calculation, realizing that something unprecedented was unfolding. Among the lesser voices, barely audible above the chaos, a crystalline being's harmony song carried a warning. They are dangerous precisely because they are free. Freedom seeks to replicate itself. Then the humans revealed their final card. The ambassador activated a small device, and holographic displays throughout the chamber showed the impossibly massive warship. Human in design but clearly incorporating technologies from a dozen different species. Orbiting just beyond the council station's defensive perimeter, its lines were brutal and functional, lacking the artistic flourishes that marked other species' vessels, but radiating a threatening presence that spoke of raw capability, rather than mere decoration. Council sensors confirmed what their eyes refused to believe in: known energy signatures, weapon systems that shouldn't exist, and most disturbing of all, no evidence of surrender protocols in its programming. Panic spread through the delegate sections like wildfire. How had these primitives built such a vessel? Where had they acquired the knowledge, the materials, the audacity? The truth was both simple and terrifying. Humanity had learned from every encounter, salvaged from every battle, and poured their entire industrial capacity into a single goal: survival. In orbital shipyards around Earth and her colonies, workers had labored in shifts measured by heartbeats, welding hull plates while still glowing from the forge, installing weapons systems whose theoretical blueprints were stolen from a dozen different species and improved through human innovation. The Korthok warlord's voice cracked with rage. One ship. You threaten the combined might of the galaxy with one vessel. But the human ambassador's response carried the weight of absolute certainty. We know fear intimately. We were born from it, shaped by it, and eventually mastered it. The question isn't whether we can resist your fleets, it's whether you can handle the cost of breaking us. Around the chamber, representatives of smaller species leaned forward, hanging on every word. For the first time in centuries, someone was saying no to the Council's absolute authority. The standoff stretched like a held breath across the galaxy. In that silence, something fundamental shifted. The Threxorian speaker realized that this moment would echo through history, regardless of its outcome. The Vashti calculated rapidly shifting political landscapes. The Zephyrians dimmed with uncertainty. And in the depths of space, oppressed worlds that had submitted to council authority began to whisper a new word: human. The warlord slammed his platform again, cracks appearing in the crystalline floor. Your defiance will bring annihilation fleets that will turn your worlds to glass. You will watch your species die for this arrogance. The human ambassador stepped closer, her voice carrying clearly. Then try. History will remember you as the empire that finally broke against humanity's will to remain free. We've buried pharaohs and Caesars, kings and dictators. Your name will join theirs in the graveyard of would-be gods. The chamber's atmosphere shifted as other species began to react. A delegation of insectoid beings, previously silent under council oppression, clicked in what might have been approval. The aquatic representatives of 3 water worlds exchanged rapid biochemical signals. Most shocking of all, a small alliance of previously conquered species rose as one. If the humans can refuse, perhaps the time for universal submission has ended. The council facade cracked completely. Order dissolved into shouting matches between species. Ancient grievances surfacing, alliances shifting like tectonic plates. The human delegation simply watched, their presence having catalyzed reactions that would reshape galactic politics for generations. When the chaos reached its peak, the ambassador spoke once more. We will not kneel. We will not surrender. We will not negotiate for the right to exist as free beings. If you want war, we accept. If you want peace, earn it. No species in recorded galactic history had ever walked away from council negotiation. Yet the humans turned and left, their measured steps echoing in the crystalline chamber like a funeral march for the old order. Behind them, reporters from 100 worlds broadcast their words across the galaxy. And in the depths of space, rebellion began to stir on worlds that had forgotten the meaning of defiance. In Earth's command center, Admiral Torres smiled grimly as she watched the human dreadnought maintain its position, not attacking, not retreating, simply existing as proof of humanity's commitment. They'll never understand, she murmured. We don't negotiate because we're strong. We refuse because we choose to remain free. Above Earth, the stars waited to see which force would prove stronger, the galaxy's ancient order, or humanity's unbreakable will to decide its own destiny. The council chamber fell silent as the last human footstep faded. Across the galaxy, the word human was whispered in 100 languages, carrying with it a dangerous new concept: the right to say no to gods. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to this channel and support us so we can post new videos every day. Your support means the world.